Good evening for anyone that's here early. Here we go. Shadow, shadow, shadow. Hello, Richard and Pam. I'm just setting myself up a few minutes early because with the night, I'm getting a bit of shade here, a bit of shadow, and obviously don't want to work in shade, so I'm just trying to figure out if I'm holding this here and going... Seems like it's a little bit dark, but I don't really know what I can do about that. Celia, hi. Let me know about this shadow. I'm trying all different options here, but... Hi, Pam. I'm just trying to... I've got a light attached to this thing, but I seem to have a lot of shade here, and yet I can't see. Ah, two different devices. I'm looking on the recording device, which is my phone. Oh, thank you, Celia. Now I need to get the comments on my iPad. Oh, I'm just about to sneeze. Bear with me. Okay. Oh, yeah, I can see it's okay now. I was looking at my screen here. I need something with the time on it. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes. Right, stop looking at that. Oh, looks like my mum's popped in. Hello, Mother. Settle in, we're just setting up. Let a few more people come in. This is the tag we're going to be making. I'll take you all through that. Got my notes, because obviously I'm following somebody else's notes tonight. The lovely Dee. Oh, Fiona, you're back at work already. Crikey. Are you up? Is this your first shift since being ill? Wow. Mum's here. Nice stamps. Thank you very much. They're Tim Holtz ones. Hi, Soraya. Nice to see you. Angela. I can see you all popping in. It's so nice. So I've got all my bits and pieces beside me. I'll shake up my paints because they'll probably have separated by now. I'm sitting there. I can't believe Fiona's back at work already. And that one. A tag I'm working on. My stamping platform because I'm a rubbish stamper. How are we doing? Hi, Diane. Oh, Fiona, well done. How did you feel? You're not too tired, I hope. Because you work something like 12-hour shifts, don't you? Hope you can hear me, Mum. I have one of those voices that carries, as you know. So ideal for this, really. I know that if you move too far away from the phone, though, I can't be heard so well, which is... Right, I'll just check. You can see everything. Where's my sides? Mine to there. To there. So I could go this way a little bit. Hold on to your seats. I'm going to go that way a little bit. There we go. I'll move that around a tiny bit. Like I was saying before, I thought I was struggling with shadow, but it actually looks all right on there. Hi, Di. Boss is in. Boss is playing along tonight. Oh, bless you, Fiona. I guess you've got some Red Bull or something to help you get through. And a good night's sleep afterwards. Oh, just be careful, my love. Oh, hi, Kim. Oh, you're welcome. This is actually Dee's. I've sort of snuck in the back door. Hi, Mary. Got your pyjamas on. Hi, Chris, Sarah, Sandra. That's it. All talk to each other as well. That's lovely. I'll just give it a minute or two. I've got 14 in. I wasn't really expecting loads tonight because it's not Dee. I'm just standing in for her so that we've got a live. Dee can't do a live. And we thought it might be nice just to play along together, craft along together. We're missing that Hi Margaret. Missing that closeness, aren't we? Just sitting in a room together. Right, have you got all your bits? If you're waiting, if you're ready, waiting to go, you could tinting base your base if you wanted to, so you're not just sitting there watching me. I might. Shall we get going nice and slow? Won't go too fast for those that are still running up the stairs after having their dinner. This is 12 tag 12 ways. 12 tags 12 ways. Number 5 we're on already out of 12, and it's the full Encaustic, so false Encaustic, which I think is waxes that get melted. I'm not actually sure. I should have looked that up, shouldn't I? And Dee always does these amazing classes, but she can't make the live, so I said I'd have a go. I made one the other day, and if you look at Dee's, it's much darker than mine, so I'm going to have a go at making this again, but making it a bit darker. We'll see how we go, shall we? Right, let's get going. It's got to be a couple of minutes after. So, tinting base, let's move that to the side. Welcome everybody, it's lovely to see you all. Christine just popped in as well. Encaustic is melted wax. Thanks, Celia. Oh, Fiona, be safe. Hope you have the energy. Tuck a Mars bar in your pocket, love. Right, let's get going. Tinting base or chalk paint, anything white really, it's just to give us a base to work on, and it will seal the tag. I tend to, probably saw me do this earlier, I do it unconsciously, just white around the edges where it's lasered. Sometimes, can you see, if we're putting white on, a little bit of dark comes off. So here we go, we're going in. This is just a base, like I say, it's to seal it so we can throw all the wet stuff we're going to be throwing at it later, so it won't peel up, and it'll give us a nice base to work on, but you don't need to be too careful. Oh, thought it was a cat and it's my husband. Please don't jump on my lap, eh? There, slap it on there. You don't need to do the back unless you want to. I've actually been painting the back of mine and then putting very loose description of how we've been doing the tags, sort of ingredients that we've used and things. Done that, miss? Oh, die. I knew you were going to be trouble. Put you on the naughty step already, shall we? Take my place for tonight. Do the edges, because we are going to be using quite a lot of water. Well, I did anyway. Used quite a lot of water. And although we've got the instructions from Dee, you must make it your own. I found yesterday when I was running through to make sure I could actually do it for you, I didn't have half the stuff. Dee and I make very different types of stuff, so I didn't have a lot of the ingredients. So I found workarounds which were great. They worked really well actually. So don't worry if you haven't got something. We'll find a workaround for you. But do comment on here if you haven't got them, and we'll see if we can come up with a solution. I know Celia's worked a little bit ahead for me so that she can field some questions. I haven't got anything ready, so I'll be running around the craft room. That's all right. That's what's nice about working at home though, isn't it? When you go away to a retreat or something and you've forgotten half your stuff, you're borrowing off people. Whereas here, you just turn around and it's on a shelf behind you. I think I'm finished with that now, that paint tinting base. I'm just going to pop it in the water. Oh, that's it. Talk amongst yourselves. That's lovely. Not going to rush just while. See, a few more people have popped in, so we'll let them catch up. So I'm going to use my heat tool just to dry that off a little bit. So it doesn't matter if I'm a step or two ahead of you. It gives me a chance to read your comments. Hello, Bernadette. I have a gin that die, really? I don't dare risk one until after. There we go. It'd be really handy to have each layer dry, so if you've got a heat tool, do use it, and just shout if I get too far ahead. I doubt I will because I'm not a fast crafter, but we're going to be using quite a lot of water, like I said earlier, so we do want the stages in between dry. So, going to Dee's notes. First give your tag a coat of tinting base. Done, Dee. Stamp your 3 butterflies on the tag. Right, don't rush ahead here. With archive link or Versamark, and blot off the excess ink. That is a very important part of it. So I am a rubbish stamper, so what I will do, I'm going to line up where I want my butterflies. You'll see what I mean in a second. Have a piece of scrap paper with you as well. I'll show you for why in a minute. Now I did the big one at the bottom. If you see from the, can you see this one? Yeah. Big one at the bottom, then medium, then small. And I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm going to line them up like so. Then I use stamping platform because I'm not very good at this. And it does give me a chance to see what's not lined up because I've got lines. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know. Try our best, don't we? And then you see it lifts them up like that. Now, we need to make a mask as well because we're going to do some stamping on the background later, and if we don't mask over these, we'll be stamping through the butterflies, which we don't want to do. So when you put your ink on and you stamp your butterflies onto the tag like we're going to do, have your scrap piece of paper beside you to do a secondary or a ghost print. So you will see, I've got mine ready because I've already cut them out. So there's my ghost print. They don't have to be perfect. All they're going to do is overlay these so that we don't stamp on them. So I'm going to use archive link. Stamp them up. You need a juicy pad, but if you haven't got one, don't worry too much because we're going to be putting layers and layers on. So some of it's going to get sort of faded out anyway. I'm going to stand up. Sorry if I get loud, because I print better if I stand up. Then I'm going to line this centre up with the hole. But you do whatever feels right for you. There. Good, these little stamping platforms. They've got sponging so you can squish down and hold them down on your tinting base a little bit longer than you would normally, just because you're transferring the ink to acrylic, so to plastic basically, and it doesn't always take quickly. So you just hold them in place for a second. I'm being mollied. Molly, for those that don't know, is Di's puppy. She's a bit bigger than a puppy now, but she's a monkey. She's gorgeous. Right, that should be enough. But I'm not going to over worry if it isn't. It's not brilliant, but I told you I couldn't do that well. So, right, and then you get your scrap, which I've already done, but just so I show you. And if I go down now, da, 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 da. There you go. See, I've got a ghost image which I can then cut out, but that allows me to, I've cut mine out, so it allows me to have a look at your comments, put that out of the way. Now, give it a quick blast with your tool, with your heat tool, but we absolutely have to have this dry. So, check your comments. Just gin, no more. Hi Ingrid. You joining in or just watching, Ingrid? So what you're going to do is take either that piece of paper you just stamped on or a cloth, and you're just going to put it over the top. You don't want to move it, but just stamp down and it will pick up any of that excess ink. Oh, I haven't had my dinner, can you tell? Be coming. So. Oh, that's dry. I haven't picked up any ink. That's great. It's exactly how we want it, but I'm going to make absolutely sure because I don't want it bleeding too much. No, I've got nothing. So make sure that's dry, and then you're going to cut out your little masks. And I'm going to have a look at there. I'm going to have a slurp on the water because it's really hot. I love doing tutorials, but it does, you're concentrating so hard, you do get hot. And then we've stamped our butterflies. Now, I can put those to one side for a minute. I'm going to put those on there. So I know where they are. Your scrap piece of paper. Let me grab another scrap. I'm going to do a little bit of printing on here. Oh, I forgot to have this bit ready. Give you guys a chance to catch up with me. Now this bit of scrap paper, what you're going to be doing is covering this part of the tag. Can you see on this one? This is actually a scrap piece. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to literally rip it like so. I'm going to vaguely measure up where I want. So I sort of came up here, can you see? So over to that corner-ish. So I'm going to rip. Similar sort of thing. Oh, I don't want to be covering that much, do I? So, covering this part of the tag as if it was an old map or something that's got ripped. Just till you like it. Oh, Natasha, hi! Oh my goodness. I don't think you've ever sat and watched me. Self-conscious much now. Natasha's just, oh, she's lovely, and she's sitting in Greece, and she's the most talented artist. I've learnt so much off of you in the past. Really self-conscious now. How funny is that? Oh, welcome, welcome. Now I'm going to have to read this. You've thrown me one. Oh, it's so lovely to see you. Wowza. Big guns in the house. Right, we're going to take our little scrap. So this is going to go across here. I'm going to do some background stamping. Now, I had something very simple. I love text. So I've got an old Tim Holtz. Couldn't even tell you where it's from. I'll look it up later if you'd like it, though. And I'm just going to stamp some text over here. Let me just quickly read the notes from Dee. Right, she's stamped in red. A little bit of red. I've done a little bit of red and a little bit of black. Because for me, what I did was stamp, and then I just kept stamping until there was no ink left. So you get different tones of the same colour. And then we're going to knock it back. So like. So this is where we're going to mask the butterflies. So we're going to stamp on this little bit of rough that's going in the corner here, but we're also going to stamp our main piece. And I'm mainly going to do reds because I like red. But you sort of want plummy colours if you've got them, which of course I haven't got plum colours either. But I have got a nice red, so put those on there. Natasha's in the house! Natasha's in the house! How lovely is that? Not excited at all. It's from, oh, thank you, Celia. Yes, it is. Absolutely love these, but I didn't think putting some of the other creepy crawlies on would be good, but I do like these. Now, I'm going to stamp on here. I'm then very carefully, without moving these bugs, just going to stamp bits. I'm going to take bits. As you can see, I haven't mounted it because that's a little bit too contrived for me. I like bits and bobs. Oh, I'm stamping on that one. That's fine. So just make sure they don't move. I'm going to stamp a bit there. And I can see where it's shiny that I've still got ink. So see, I'm just going to keep on stamping, really, until I've got none left or until I like the look. To be honest, a lot of this is going to be covered up, so don't worry if you've gone a bit too mad. Which I probably have. I've done the whole thing now, but there we go. And then, where it's fainter, I'm going to do that too. Just so you can use lots of different ones if you want to, but I'm all for simplicity. How are we all doing? I know I jumped ahead because you had to cut your bits out. Let's clear this off the desk, otherwise I'm going to get red on stuff later that I don't want it on. Yes, I've still got that stuck in my head from weeks ago. So, now, because I've used VersaFine, it really doesn't dry fast. So this one we are going to dry properly. It's probably alright on that scrap because it would have soaked into the water. But on this one, because again it's on acrylic, well, that tinting base is an acrylic base, so I'm going to dry very fast. So I think we can take our masks off. And the best way of seeing it is, one, if it's shiny, and I can see it's still shiny in places. Hold one end and push it down, then it won't smudge. Not that you're going to make out the detail later anyway. So see, look, lots came off. You don't want it. You don't want it. If it's going to be wet in a bit. So I'm just drying it a bit more, but you have to be careful. You don't want to make it bubble either. And I don't know about your heat gun, but mine's ferocious hot. So I'll dry a bit, and then I'll get this. I'm going to do it again. Want it as dry as you possibly can. Don't want to rush this bit. It's funny, this prep work I found yesterday when I made it for the first time seemed to take me ages to get to where I needed, and then all of a sudden I'd finished. Once we get to the exciting embossing bit. Now, am I happy with that? I think so. I think that'll go nice there. Cool. Right, what do we do next? Sorry while I'm reading. So we're going to knock back some of the stamping we've just done until we're happy with it. So, a bit of tinting base, and I'm like dye here, I'm a finger painter, so I'm just going to have a bit there so I don't get it all over me. So, I am going to take a bit of tinting base. That's already a little bit watery. I hope you can't hear that, it's my stomach rumbling. And where it's darker, I'm just going to take it back. Can you see? I don't want it quite as red as that. And I've got a tiny bit of smudge there, which means it still wasn't dry. So if you find it's not dry and you're worried about the smudging, just give it another go with your heat gun. So we're sort of part covering some, and I will thicker cover some parts. Give it that sort of vintage feel. But try and stay clear of your butterflies. Don't matter if you get them, but this bit doesn't matter too much down here because it's going to be covered by the scrap. So what I might do is move that to a side while it dries a little bit. I'm going to knock some of this back as well. But like I say, I'm not going to be careful with it. I can see this is going a bit pink as well. It's surprising how wet it stays for how long. Versifine's terrible for it. It's good in some ways, depending on what you're doing. How are you doing? I can't see any comments. That means you're all working away. You're all beavering away. That's good. I'm going to put my lids on because it is warm under this lamp I've got here. Just want it all drying out. There we go. I actually went out today in the car. I went and put petrol in the car. I can't even remember the last time I put petrol in the car. Isn't that mad? So I filled her up, so I've got like 400 miles now in my tank. It's going to take me ages to do that. I don't drive anywhere anymore. Very rarely. I do a click and collect. So the added bonus of putting the tinting base on is it will add a barrier between any stamping that's not dry. Oh, ow. By George, that's warm. You're knitting, Mum. Oh, that's nice. What are you knitting? What are you making? Mum's a knitter. I crochet. I've never really mastered knitting. But Mum does. Oh, she made us the most beautiful Aran sweaters when we were growing up. Now, we're going to glue this here in place. Now, position it how you want. It doesn't matter if it's too big on the side because we can cut that back. I promised Mum I wasn't using a knife tonight, but I actually might have figged a little bit there because I'm going to go off the edge and then I'm going to trim it afterwards. So I quite like it there. I want to see some of the bee. I think that's a moth actually. I like moths. Moths? Moth eye? Don't, I'll start babbling. Right, get your glue. Nice watery glue. For this one, I've got a watery glue and it's called Trunk Gunk, but it works super for this. I've got a little glue spatula. Oh, that ball of wool, mum. Look, nobody's. Oh dear, that's a bit much. Get the nozzle back on that quickly. It must be warm in here. Right, and then I'm going to spread this, especially at the edges, because we don't really want anything seeping under it later. You'll see. Don't know if any of you have read through the instructions yet. There we go. So, put that right in there. And this is going to go on the corner. Here-ish. Now, I wouldn't tap that too much because, again, well, in my case, certainly I've got wet stamping still. So I am being a little bit careful. I'm going to clear up my spilt glue. A little bit of water there, a little bit more. Shove that to the side. Now, what I did yesterday, because I don't want to touch the surface of that too much, is I've got my brayer. And if you brayer nice and firm, it gets all the air bubbles out, but it also pushes it down without you tempting to rip, because that's a bit damp now with that wet glue, and you don't want to rip any of it. So I did that. And look at that, it's almost seamless, but we will be feeling that ridge later, which is a good thing. A multicolour tap for myself just for... Oh, yeah, you never do for you. Right, look away now, Mum, because the knife's coming out. So, if I can find it. Look how good I am, I even made a proper little sheath for it. So, I positioned mine further over. I'm just going to cut that off. That's still a little bit damp, so we're going to go nice and easy. I love the way the brayer absolutely squashes that down there. So, hold it tight if you're doing this. You can do it with scissors. You could take a bit of sandpaper. Mine's not dry enough for sandpaper. You could do sandpaper this way, so this way, and that will cut that off. Actually, let's do that. You've seen me use a knife before. Good job Fiona's gone to work, hasn't he? Just dry that off a bit. I think sandpaper should work. I've got a piece up here, sorry, I'm going to lean in here. There we go. And, I don't know, it's not a very rough piece of sandpaper, so I might have to go to the knife anyway. So I'm going down at about a 45-degree angle. Quite firmly. Holding everything firmly. And you just see how that... I might have a bit of glue under it, so if I pull that now. Ta-da! And what have we got this side? Yeah. Isn't that clever? And that, again, will give it a not exactly clean edge, which is also a bit vintagey, although this is actually sticking itself down. So there we go. There we go. Actually put it out, yeah. Should have stuck with a knife, shouldn't I? Much better with a knife. There we go. There. I'm pushing it nice and flat. There we go. Just make sure. How are we all doing? Is everyone up to speed? Everyone with me? While I'm waiting for you to answer, I'll give it another quick blast off the side here. I know it doesn't look very different at the moment, but you'll see. You'll see. Also aware that I'm trying to keep this to an hour if I can. Oh, lots of likes. Oh, they're good, the thumbs. Give me some love. Give me some hearts coming up the side of my screen. So we glued to the corner, back to Dee's notes on page 2. There we go. Oh! Thank you, Celia. I've got loads of hearts floating up my screen. I don't know if you can... Oh yeah, I guess you guys can see that too. How fab. Right, next job. Right, what Dee says in her notes is wet the tag, spray your tag, and then use your brushes or infusions, whichever you've chosen to do this with. I haven't got either. So what I found was, and of course I didn't make a note, I'm just putting my board away, bear with. So I'm going to spray it, but what I'm going to do is water down some acrylic paint, some of my favourite acrylic paints. And what I've got is, hold on, a sepia colour. So I chose this, not very pleasant at the moment, looking raw sienna. I chose Queen Gold. You can't do one of these without Queen Gold. What colour's Twilight, Kim? You say you've stamped it in Twilight, not black. As long as it's going to show up, because you can see not much goes over the butterflies. So Twilight, if it's a dark blue, I would say, probably, if it's Twilight, like night. Yeah, a little more faded and rustic. Celia's absolutely right. See, mine isn't dark, and here I haven't done a good impression, so mine's going to be faded too. I'm sure it'll be fine. Faded and rustic. What else am I going to use? A Payne's Grey, and Celia did one yesterday as well. She had a splosh of red. It was really effective, so I'm going to do that too. Hopefully, let's see. So we're playing with water, and it will bleed out. It should all bleed out into each other, and that's unpredictable. So let's see. Let's see what we get. So she says, spritz the tag. Using brush and so what we're going to do now is pretty much do what we want to do. Now, if I get the front page of Dee's, we put mine next to it. She was dark, quite dark down here, so I would say go around your edges. With the sepia, I would blot some, depending on what colours you're using, a darker colour here, let's say, let's not use colours, darker colour here and here, darker up this seamed edge so that you can see it looks like something's been ripped back or burnt. Let's have a go. Let's talk through it as we do it, because quite often I can't find the words, especially when it's not my tag. Now, so you do want this dry, because otherwise as we spray it, this ink will lift from your stamping, and you don't want that. I think I'm happy to go with mine. I don't mind a bit of blurring, to be honest, but I'm going to start with my lightest colour. Give it a shake. Which is this sepia. You probably don't want much because we're going to be watering it down. I'm going to do a bit of Queen Gold because I absolutely adore Queen Gold, because depending how much water you put with it, it just changes. The reds come out, the rust comes out. I know we're not doing rust, but you know, I'm going to do a bit of red. Can you see these are all from a similar place on the colour wheel, in the sense that, oh, I've got a bubble. Let's have a paintbrush. Hold on. They actually go together really quite well. I've covered it in my fingers. And this Payne's Grey is going to probably be the last one I put on. Yeah, got a nasty bit on the top. Where's that? Excuse me while I clear up. Well done, everybody. See, I'm not a particularly fast crafter, so you should be able to keep with me. I'm not reading the things. I have to go back and read the instructions because I'm terrible. I sort of look at it and go, yeah, I can do that. And then remember I haven't actually read the instructions. So let's rinse this red off because it's not the first colour we're going to use. I'm not going to be too careful because all these colours are going to blend together a little. Let's get this sprayed. Don't be shy. Get it on there. I might dab it back a bit. That looks like a bit too much. Dab it back a bit because I want the water, I want the colour rather to pull. So I'm going to put some on my mat here. Now, what did we say? Sepia first? I would make a separate pool of it. Oh, that looks really uninviting, doesn't it? I'm going to keep this here as a reference point, but if you don't like it, if you think it's too much, grab your towel and dab it up. Sometimes that's quite a nice effect on it is. I'm going to keep putting that in the water. Now, we're going for a sort of, like an old newspaper, I think, that's been left to age under a cabinet or in the bottom of a drawer or something like that. I'm actually quite liking how that looks. I'm not going to go too mad. What I might do is dry it off a bit. Now this is a bit where you kind of want a bit of blending, but you also want some of these colours to stand out. So I'm going to do a bit of drying like this. Dry off some of it. I might then take this. Now this has got to look nice for you. No one else has got to see this. It's for you. So if you don't like something, so just really gently dabbing it back, and that gives a nice effect too. So I might pick it up one place and drop it down another. Do a little bit more drying, maybe not on the paint that I haven't used yet. Now I can see, I don't know if you can see, that's still a bit shiny. So that will end up bleeding, which is not an effect I mind. Because these colours are all similar on the colour wheel, trust me on that. I'm going to go with a bit of red next. And I'm really using this one sparingly because it's going to be quite, if any of the colours down here jar, it's the red. I want it to jar, but I don't want a lot of it. So I'm going to put some down here, and actually putting it down, can you see it actually, it's quite bloody actually. It's not the look I'm going for. I've got more to do yet. I've just realised I've gone over my butterfly, so what I'm going to do is give that a spray. Oh, it's just started raining against the back of the house. We've got fields at the back of the house, and it's just started going against the back of the house. That's the cat in for the night then. She was dubious about going out earlier. There. Now remember, this has got to please your eye, nobody else's. You like it more red, you do it more red. And I've noticed it's crept up here. Don't mind. It's already looking more interesting than the one I did yesterday. Oh Dee, your tutorials, I've always loved doing them. I've only ever done them live though. Right, I'm going to shake that off because I think that's all the red I want. And I think I might dry it a bit too. That's not a dryer, that's a spray bowl. I'll dry it. Hi Jackie, popping in. Are you watching, playing along? I have no idea what the time is. Let me see if I can have a look. Okay, we've been going half an hour, and actually that's really good because there aren't many more stages. In fact, the fun stage is coming up pretty soon. I've dried this corner here because that's the area of red I want. There's a little bit of pink here. I'm going to blow that up there. I may even tap that off now. I want a stain. Can you see I've got a stain here, but not a strong colour, and that suits me fine. I'll just snip on that. What I am going to do is clear myself a little channel because I can see my work surface. Like all crafters, you start with this lovely clear bench and you end up with 2 centimetres to work in. Right, that's that colour. I think I'm going to go with Queen Gold next, which it is my favourite. Love stamping, do you, Shaz? I'm rubbish at it. I quite like it, but I'm rubbish at it. Clear Chianti ink and Merlot colour burst. Does that say anything about me? Like your wine, do you, love? Oh, Kim. As long as it's on your tag and not going down your neck, we'll be all right. Although, could be interesting, couldn't it? I'll probably have a whiskey later. Oh, actually, yeah, I'll have a sup of your drinks. Quite warm. God, can you hear that rain against my window? Right, Queen Gold. I'm going to do lots of Queen Gold, but in different intensities. I'm going to start quite light. Oh, I thought I could hear a cat yowling, but I think it might actually be the TV. Now I'm going to do more of a wash. Actually, I'm actually really liking that sienna on there. What was that, burnt or raw sienna? Looks much nicer than in that pool, doesn't it? And this one, because my tag's drying out a bit, I'm going to put this on in a couple of places like that, and it looks, oh yeah, around that, around the hole, because it will look like it drips, won't it? I'll worry about the butterflies in a minute. I'm going to get a good splodge on this bit of ripped paper here. I'm going to go over the red, you'll see why in a minute. Going a bit ad hoc here. I'm going to put a bit darker in places. Right, but first of all, let's give it spray and let's move it around a little bit. Oh, I'm liking that. How's yours looking? You liking yours? Yeah, I've not used them at all, Di. Brusho, so for those that don't know, and I must admit I looked it up today, is you spray the water down like we've been doing, and then they're like crystals, and you throw them on, and they're made up of lots of different pigments. So as you throw them down onto the water, or sprinkle them, don't throw, all of the pigments come out. I think I've got one set up there. I think it's an emerald set, and it's got lots of different colours in it, but I've never really played with them very much. I think I might have to. Right, as you can see, I'm taking out here from the butterflies, just because we're going to do a bit of colour pencil work in those in a bit. Now I'm quite liking, can you see how it's pulled, the Queen Gold? God, I love the Queen Gold. Now, I'm not done yet. I'm going to add a bit more water around the edge here. I'm not done with the edges. Now, I actually want an intensity of this rusty Queen Gold. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to plop some in where I can see there's water laying on the tag. I'm going to put some of this Queen Gold in because it's lovely. Getting bubbles. I don't know where I'm getting bubbles from. I'm actually really liking this, but I'm also going to pull some up. Let's see if I can get some whiter spaces. I'm trying to create a bit of interest, a bit of depth. So I actually kind of want some places not quite so heavy. I'm going to leave that because it will dry lighter. And my last colour, which wasn't on Dee's list, but it's something I really like putting around the edges of things and possibly down here, is Payne's Grey. Payne's Grey or Prussian Blue. Prussian Blue is just wonderful. Oh, Angela, you've played, have you? You used Vista, Ingrid. Yeah, I've used that on Powertex, but that's all. Dee! Hello, Dee. How am I doing? Not self-conscious at all now you're in here, lovey. I'm going to write or play. Oh, Dee, your instructions are great and your tag is wonderful. I'm going a bit darker, as you can see. This is one I made the other day and this is one I'm making today. Very different. And I'm going to add some Payne's Grey, as I was just saying, because I absolutely love Payne's Grey. So I'm going to get some clean water for this. And I'm going to try a technique that Di showed us. Oh, Di, it's so lovely to see you. I'm going to put water on the brush, and then you take the tiniest amount. I haven't got the best brush for this. I might pick another brush actually. This one. I want the bristles more together. So you're going to get some water on the brush. Then you're going to take the tiniest amount of Payne's Grey on one edge. Can you see? You're going to run it down the side, and you're just going to keep going. So the water, keep adding a bit of water and a bit of Payne's Grey will give you an edge. I'm not very good at this one yet. Won't stop me having a go though, because it's in the doing that we learn. I think I need to be a bit more heavy-handed, to be honest. Oh, there we go, look. And can you see how it's now blending in? A bit more Payne's Grey. You can be darker and keep going up and down and up and down. Crikey, that rain's really coming down now. I'll go across the top. I think my brush has dried out a bit. Quite warm, especially under this light I've got here. And I'm going to go down this side that I can see has got some Queen Gold still there, but I don't mind. Oh, it's a bit too much. Oh, actually, see, I wasn't being brave enough, wasn't being bold enough, because that, I really like that. A bit more on the top there. Gonna let the water play with that for a bit. Yeah, a bit more down there. Must remember to keep talking because I actually get quite engrossed in what I'm doing, especially when I'm doing a technique that I haven't done before and it starts to look good. I quite like how that's spreading. So I'm going to go down here too. So there's something to be said for leaving your piece a little bit damp. I'm going to sort that bit out in a minute. A bit more water, you see. Oh, actually, take some off. A bit more water. Possibly a little bit damp. Now we've got this bit down here that we haven't paid much attention to, so I'm going to clean my brush and start from scratch. Water, bit of Payne's Grey, and I'm going to go, what way should I go? This way, I think. A bit more. I'm really not very courageous, am I? Really. Oh, can you see how that's coming there? I like that. How are we doing? Oh, that's that's handy, Kim. Happy accident. I was a bit worried about doing this with the Payne's Grey because I hadn't test run it yesterday, but actually really liking how it's starting to come together. I'm dabbing off at the side here and adding bits of water and sort of pulling that out. I'm actually really liking how that's, I think I'm nearly there with how that's looking for me. In fact, afterwards I'll probably go, oh, I wish I'd done a bit more there. Oh, I like. Add a little bit more around the edge. Mind you, we can do a bit more of this later as well. Right, I'm calling that done. In the paint pot. I'm going to dry it off a little bit. I'm going to clear up this mess, or I'm going to put something in there that I shouldn't have. I don't think we need the masks anymore. That is red paint, not, I didn't stab myself. Let's get the paints out of the way. Put that there. Just have a quick clean up. Right. That's me rocking my table. Because the Bista, I think, is actually crushed nuts, I think. I could be wrong, but I've got a feeling it is. Right. Cool. I've just looked on the feed so that I can see your comments, and what I'm looking at to what I can see on the screen there is, it looks really bright. It's actually not as bright as that. I'll take a proper picture later. I'm guessing it's because of the lamp I've got on. Let's have to try Bista. Looking forward to trying some infusions, to be honest. I've got a little bit of warpage with my tag, but don't worry, that'll be, we're not done yet. And if you do, had I put some paint on the back, it would be fine. I'll let that dry a little bit on its own. Because I think we go to pencils next. So, oh, it's nice to have you there, Dee, because you can add to comments now, if you like. Now I picked a cream colour, my all pencil, which means if I add water it's going to activate. A cranberry, which is the deepest red I had, it's slightly browny red, that I thought it would go with my colours. And, oh, that's a cream, so what's that, white? Oh, I got some Bista from when I did some power texing. They tend to use Bista a lot for colouring the power text because that's that fabric hardener, and it works really well on there with some water or more power text. I love what it does. I like the slight unpredictability of it. The amount of times I've reached for that spray bottle of what I actually want my, whatever this is called, Hoover? Hair Hoover. Hairdryer. Right, that's almost dry. Right, pencils. what we're going to do now is accentuate our butterflies a little bit. I didn't do an awful lot to mine. I took a red, I think I took the black to the bodies, just to make the bodies a bit darker, but really not hugely. Just to give it a bit of something, a bit of depth. And actually, colour pencils actually probably my favourite part so far. I can't wait to get to the, I think it's the next bit. Oh, it's just so much fun. No, not even, it's the page after. When we finally get to, where are my crystals? Look at this lovely big pot of embossing enamel. I just love. The first time I learned that with Dee was at one of the mixologies. Oh, just love it, love it, love it. Probably still got the piece up on the wall here somewhere. Right, that's my black. I'm going to do cream just coming out from the middle because it's actually, you can actually see the cream. I don't know if you can see it on the visual here, but I can see it. I think the light's probably stealing some of it. But just some white out from, oh, it's cream, sorry, out from the middle. And it's not a huge amount of colour, but you really will notice the difference. I'll shove some white in there because I like white. You see, I'm not being very careful. If you want to be careful, you go for it. I'm just, I'm a lot more relaxed with my colouring. This actually looks a bit brown. I'm going to go up here. A bit around the edges. It's quite nice to have the butterfly edges, wings, a bit more defined. This one I'm going to go in here. It will show up, I promise you, once we've done the embossing. It's surprising. I'm going to do some flicks this time. I'm going to tone that down as well. So to tone it down, I am going to take, I have a bud here. You can use a blending stick, anything you like. Use your finger. But I'm just going to blend this down a little. In fact, I'm going to put some more cream on. A bit darker than I wanted. See where I was playing yesterday. Then you can take your colours around the edges if you want to. I'm actually quite happy with the edges of this, darker than yesterday's. But I'm going to loosely scribble my darkest colour around the edge, and it will just frame it. It will make it pop a little bit. Really liking how this scrap piece of paper's come out. Better than yesterday's. Oh, excuse me, I'm just going to have a drink. Oh, good. Glad you're enjoying it. Ingrid, how's everybody liking their bits? Have a quick slurp while I turn the page, see what's coming next over the page. Right. Dee's used a solvent on hers. Because I'm using an oil pencil, I can get away with water for smudging. But if you're just using your pencils, you can use a solvent. Dee used Sansador, but I would imagine you can use any solvent on that. Dee will correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm going to go down the edge of this slightly. And you can feel where it is, which is nice. Just a bit, just to enhance that. I enhanced it with a Payne's Grey. But if you didn't have a dark one, you can do it with your darker pencil. If you've got a solvent, if you haven't got an oil pencil like I have, that's going to really make it pop and really make that stand out. But you'll see when I take my water brush, you should, I hope, see this get darker. Oh, it already looks darker on my image. That's so funny. Guys seeing it very different to how I'm seeing it in live. I'll take a decent picture later. And that's just soften the edges a bit. Yeah, that's really funny. You Can go around the edge a little bit. Oh yeah, I can see. Can you see on the image? Try and pick it up a little bit. I'll stand up. See around here, it just, if I do this with water, really quite hard for you to see. And down this edge, oh, that really picks up. I'm not quite sure if the camera's picking it up well enough. Never mind. You'll get the picture as you go around your own. Yeah, I'm starting to really like how mine looks as well. And look how different it is from yesterday's. Look how different those are. I'll just wait for the 30-second delay. The difference in colours. But I think I've got more depth in today's one. Just different. That's going to change. It's not going to stay like that once we get the other bits and pieces on. Right, the next thing is to edge this properly. Now I haven't got vintage photo like these instructions. I have got walnut stain, which is actually probably one of my favourites. So I'm going to put it on one of these little daubers. And I'm going to go, I'm kind of tinted, I am getting it not just on the edge, but moving it in a bit closer as well. And all while we're doing this, so everything's drying off. So for the next stage we do need it dry, although I don't think any of this will reactivate now because it's a flat process, i.e. we're going to take a stamp pad to the whole thing. If you've got any little gaps where you've got a bit of colour showing, you get that darker colour in there. How are we all doing? You get a thumbs up or a heart so I know that you're all with me. How you doing, Mum? Keeping up? Are you still there? Listening to me twittering away. Oh yeah, thumbs up, good. Oh, phone Lizzie. Say hello to Lizzie. Lizzie's my sister. Say hello to Lizzie for me. Glad you could pop in. Right, that's what I'm going to do around the edge of there. And that's already, you see how that pops a bit more? It will fade back. I'll just put a photo up later for Mum to see what we've got, what the finished thing looks like. Oh, Dee now had some washi tape now. Yeah, this is a favourite of mine, which I've now put all my washi tape on the floor, so I'm going to grab some up. Oh, probably disappeared there. I'll grab some up. Now, in yesterday's tag, this is washi tape. It looks like a bit of stamping, but you can just about barely see the edges. And what I did was, I took one of these, I think it's All and Creates, a Tracy Evans one. I'm going to take something a bit different this time. I just took a piece of this big, thick washi. Took a bit of scrap paper, something I've learned with Seth Apter. I've got some glue, because my washi tape isn't very sticky. And I'm going to rip some. I'm going to go probably to there. So which bit do I want? I think I want that. Toss that away. So I'm going to rip a bit of this, because that's got text on it and that will fit in better. And I'm going to put that possibly that way round. But I'm going to put a couple of layers. So that's one bit, and I'm going to do another bit. And I'm going to toss that another bit. And what I do, or what Seth does, is put some glue on the back. It just makes the washi isn't permanent tape, so it could lift. It's unlikely with the amount of embossing powder we're going to be putting on later, but I would hate for it to lift later, so I'm going to put some glue on, which will melt down later. Then I'm going to put a second layer slightly over it, so it gives it a bit of depth. So possibly there, might even do there. So we're already hiding some of the stuff we've already painstakingly put on, but that's cool. That is okay. Chuck that back out the way. Now, It's not quite dry, but it's probably dry enough. Get that out of the way. I'm going to get glue everywhere. I'm going to take my oil pencil again. And possibly that red. So we're getting near to the exciting bit that we're all going to love to do. I'm going to go around this in a bit of black. I'm going to activate it. So you can do it with your pencils, you can do it with a bit of paint. Whatever you've got. So I'm going to do that with my water brush. Reactivate it. Oh, I probably need a bit more water. Blend it. Because you don't want it as a hard line, you want it sort of faded out. Just a bit of a pencil mark there, that's fine. And while that's still a little bit damp, this red will go over, but I'm working quite quickly here because I want it down. What to do with that bud? Here we go. I'm not looking for a dry bit. Oh, that's funny, I've rubbed it right off. You actually almost want to work that into the edge of the washi. I'm going to do more black and then just leave it because it seems to be activating itself. That'll do me. Bish bash bomb. Right, I'm going to dry that. Just because I put a little bit of water on there, you may not have to. I actually put some water on there. Oh, I like this bit. I don't know what happened up there. I must have had a pull and dabbed it off, but I really like how that's gone. I'm liking this bleed here. I'm liking that I left that and it's actually not spread out as much, and these little bits here. It's a bit more orangey. That's weird because that's the Queen Gold's made it a bit more orangey than I thought. Right, we're going to have to let the tag cool a bit, give it a waft. Another slurp. It's still bucketing down outside. Well, there goes our rivers again. Our rivers have just started to go down. Oh, Kim, my cat's been really good and stayed away. Oh, yeah, you can't say no to your cat, can you? Oh, I love our little girl. But she hates it when she hears me talking and she can't hear anything back, or if I'm on the phone or listening to something, a video through earbuds. She hates it, so she climbs up all over and she tries to nudge the phone out of my hand. So yeah, totally understand. I would. It's such a treasure. She's not a fussy cat. She doesn't like a lot of fuss. This is cooling down nicely and quickly. She doesn't like a lot of fuss, so if she comes and sits on me, there's no way I'm going to move. Everything stops for her. Right, we're getting to the embossing bit. So what you're going to need is this, and this we're going to pour the crystals in, and most of you know how to do this, I'm sure. Pour the crystals back in so we don't lose them. So get your crystals out, loosen the top, make yourself a bit of room. Embossing pad, I used Versamark, because it's the only one I've got, but embossing ink, whatever you've got, Tim Holtz embossing ink, whatever you've got. And we're going to do, have you got your heat guns ready? We're going to do our first layer of embossing, because this is a triple embossing technique that Di showed us quite a long time ago. Oh, used the wrong pad yesterday. So you want a nice squelchy pad. I don't know if you can see the shine. Can you see? We're going to do 3 layers, but if you can get a really good layer this time round, that'd be really good. Sets you a good base for what's coming next. Now, I'm going to cover mine up because mine's not as juicy as it might be. And we're going to cover the whole tag. So I hope you've got a good amount of crystals. If you haven't, you can pick them up and do a second layer, I guess. So we're doing it on the paper so we can pour it back in. You surprisingly use very little. So I'm going to put mine off to the side. I am going to grab my tweezers because I'm rubbish at picking up a corner. There we go. without getting covered in sticky stuff. Give it a tap, put it to the side. We're going to put the crystals back in. If you tap the paper, anything that's stuck, if you managed to touch it with your embossing pad. There. Okay, and we're first layer now. Look how covered that is. And I'm sure, if you've got to this stage, you know how to emboss. Now, mine takes a little bit of time because it's a reasonable sized tag, isn't it? So let's get going. For anyone watching, is going to be a little bit bored now because you have to wait for this to heat up, don't you? And what happens for anyone that hasn't done this before or doesn't know, the embossing crystals melt with the heat. Can you see this corner's starting to go? Oh, 30 seconds behind, of course. So I'm going to concentrate that. Can you see them melting? I don't know what they're made of. Probably some sort of plastic. Yeah, it doesn't say on that. And keep this away from your gun, obviously. Yes, I don't know. Some sort of plastic that makes it go. And I have to move mine around because I don't know what it is with this heat gun. It seems to melt in a really strange way. Maybe it's me. I know, the magic is great, isn't it, Kim? I love it. I never tire of this, and my favourite one to do is a silver I've got. Oh, and it's a thick silver. In fact, I bought it, I think, after a workshop I did with Dee at Mixology. And it's quite thick, it's like ancient antique silver or something. Oh, it's just... And then what we're going to do in the third layer is stamp into it, and it's just magical. But look how quick that's going. If you start in a corner, if you haven't done this before, start in a corner in one place and you start working outwards from that corner, you'll see it change. You'll see it melt down, and then you just keep working because the heat goes through it. You'd want to travel it, I guess you'd say. You're going to follow it around. Look at that. Now remember, this is hot, so do not immediately touch it. But if you look sideways at yours, I've got little textured bubbles, not bubbles, indents. I love it. You can see I've got a little bit left there that's not melted. There it goes. You can't see at this angle. Isn't it lovely? Right. I'm going to let that cool for a second. Do not touch the embossing powder for a few seconds, because even my tag is hot. Oh look, that's where the embossing pad touched it. And we need it to cool. Oh, you can blow on it. We need it to cool enough because we're going to put the pad on again and do round 2. Now, I'm not sure. Repeat 2 further times, Dee says. Absolutely right. But I found yesterday, I don't know whether it's because of the heat tool I'm using or because of the type of crystals I'm using, because they are extra deep, chunky ones. I didn't use my VersaFine the 3rd time. I just melted my tag and put more crystals on, and it just went. It does look much cooler after just 1 layer, doesn't it? And actually I'm picking up the tag just to feel how hot it is. But look at that, it's starting to look... I just can't believe the difference in these two. And I made this one yesterday. And other than the red, I've used all the same stuff. What I wish I'd done now, which I didn't do, is maybe colour that a little bit more. The washi tape's standing out a bit too much, but we'll see at the end. It's a bit too stark for me, but that's cool. We'll see how we go. Right. Okay. Very gingerly touches. Hey, Suze. Hello, gorgeous. Oh, thanks. That's Dee's wonderful instructions, believe me. I didn't come up with this at all. It's Dee's instructions. I'm just walking through it. Just so we had somewhere to meet, really. Yeah, very gingerly touch your tag and make sure that that's ready for the next layer. Do not do it immediately. Hello Suzanne. Right, here we go. You won the prize, didn't you? Which I thought I was keeping everybody. Oh, don't look. I didn't realise it was on the corner of my pad and you'd all seen it before I announced the raffle prize. Duh. I learned so much that comfy pyjamas retreat. You wait till next year. Oh, this year now, isn't it? Right, get that well covered. Hope you've got a more juicy pad than I have. There we go. Right. Here we go for layer 2. Now, you're going to do exactly the same as we've just done, but like I said, I'm probably not going to put another layer of VersaFine embossing juice on there, because I found I could keep it molten and pour my crystals straight on top again. And if you are putting another layer of embossing powder on, please be careful, because it's going to get super hot now. Put a clean ink pad. Yeah, I think it's only got one stain on it. Oh, that's true, Celia. If that's too white for me, I was saying this was a bit too stark for me, I could put another colour, but I won't for now. I'm going to put that beside so I've got room to push this back in. Back in the pot with it. Don't waste anything here. Yeah, I could do, but if I start getting my embossing powders out, we'll be here all night. Because I have got a few. And most of them are grunge. Oh, I've got a nice blue that would go in that corner. See what she does. Right. It's got a bit messy now. Right, in with this. Still got 11 with us. Not too many people falling asleep. Now if I do it from the side so we can watch it go, I'm very conscious that the lid's not on this. Watch that corner go. And, it is quite clean. Yeah. Do you know what? Now I'm looking at it on the screen up there, Celia, on the iPad, and not from where I'm looking at it. Actually, it's all right. So I'm watching it now. It is watching the magic, isn't it? It's just the most enthralling thing. And to see the butterflies come through it again as it goes transparent, just lovely. Because I can't really talk very well over this. I don't know how much you can hear, so let's sing a song. Yeah, we get told off for that, don't we, Sis? Let's sing something they can't sue us for. Make something up. Oh no. It'll be a sea shanty if I make anything up. Let's simmer in the other corner. What do you mean, Sis? What do you mean? Hi, Linda. Add simmer to the other corner. But like the red. Oh, add the washi tape to the other corner. Is that what you mean? Oh yeah. Arg. A pirate shanty. Oh, need some calories. Right. I am coming up to the top corner. So what I'm going to do is prep my stuff, because once this goes, I'm going to start heating back down the way I've come, because I don't want to put another layer on, because the chunky stuff I've got is just wonderful stuff. It's, who is it? It's Stampendous Frontage, darling. Right. Yup. R. Right. I'm melted at the top, so I'm going to come down a bit. Trying to keep the heat all there, but I can see, oh my gosh, this is just molten now. So, right, I'm going to toss my gun aside now, And I'm going to do this as quick as I can because, believe it or not, this goes really quickly, cools down really quickly. We want it to grab this. But you go ahead with your embossing powder. I know my embossing stuff, so I know that I can get away with not having to open up my slightly dry pad. And then, oh, I know this is going to be so hot, so I really need to be careful now. Oh, we can have my fingerprints in it. Apparently I'm not allowed to swear. So I've missed a corner there, but that's fine because I know it's quite thick. That's fine. I'm going to put it beside. I'm going to, for the last time, pour this back into the pot. There we go. Oh, of course I've missed some and I'll be stepping on it for days, no doubt. I'm going to fold this right away because that's now mucky and unusable because I use everything to the nth degree. So we've got some of this to do. I know that my next step is, I am going to use the black, I think, because I'm not going to see it otherwise. Right, Dee says in her notes, because I'm not going in to melt this yet, but we're going to move quite fast from this stage, so listen up peeps. We need to prep our stamp with ink. So I've got a little postage stamp, which I'm going to ink up before I start melting. Price ratio there. Decide where you want to put your stamp, obviously. While it's molten, you're going to be pushing this in. So this is why I'm getting you ready. So we're going to ink the stamp, we're going to melt the embossing powder, and while it's still molten, we're going to push it in, wherever you want to. And she says, please be careful not to burn yourself when doing this step. So what I've done is put my stamp quite wide in so that when this is molten, I'm going to press it down, but can you see my hands are pretty free of touching what still might be too hot. Dinner's ready. Celia? All right, mate. I'll see you in a bit. We're almost there, guys. We've got 2 stages to do. This one, and then we're going to coat it in matte varnish, I believe. Let me just have a look. Yes. I think. Yes. I think. All right, so stamp. Listen to my own advice here. Oh, I've got a bit of stuff on there. That's coming up. Stamp. Give it a nice old squidge. We're going to melt. I'm not drawing on there. Now I'm going to do one. I might do one off the edge here and one down the side here. First of all, I'm going to get all this melted. How are we doing for time? Oh, running off for tea. Oh yeah. Near about 1 hour and 10. Just started a bit late. But we've got 5 or 10 minutes and we're done. Please be careful at this stage because it really is hot. Oh, now there's... Oh, what a shame I can't hear you guys. So I'm sure you know the Mana Mana song. Mana Mana. Where's my feedback? Mana Mana. Do, 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 do. Mana Mana. Do, 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 do. Big Muppet fan, me. Not so much Fraggle Rock, but Muppets were great. The writing was just brilliant. Now I'm almost there. Now I know, because I keep moving my heat gun back to where I want to stamp to keep it molten. You want it soft. Now I'm done. So I'm going to do, I think, a stamp up in that top right, oh dear, I don't know now. Yeah, top right hand corner. So quickety spit. That's really hot. I know I've got a bit of leeway actually. And straight down, if you wiggle it, you're going to smudge it. And now, oh, I didn't press hard enough. Let's do that again. Because I know yesterday, I've still got ink on there as well, I wasn't pressing hard enough. I know yesterday I was squidging all over the place. Try that again. Nice and firm. Oh, there we go, we felt that one. So you're pressing into it while it's soft. Oh, you've got the Muppet album. My favourite movie, Christmas movies, the Muppet Christmas Carol. But the only thing I can bear, what's his name? What's his name? You're only supposed to blow the... Michael Caine. I got there before the swear word. The only thing I can stand him in. So, can you see? Oh, hot. But that's my heat mat. The stamping. We're going to bring that out more. Don't worry if it's not dark enough for you. We will be bringing that out more. I'm going to do another one this side. I think I might do a 1, 2. I might even put a little bit in there. So next one. But be careful you don't hit this, because if you melt this again, it will just go flat again. So maybe I'll come down a little bit. I might go over that wing. You don't have to do it for long because it's already really hot. Oh, yeah, I could feel it go in. Pinky and Perky album. I didn't even see you coming in, Karen. Hello. Oh, I love the Muppets. Just put the Manamana song. I used to have my dad, who's passed away unfortunately. My dad used to roar with laughter to that, and don't ask me why. Him and Gonzo, he absolutely loved him. Right, and I'm going to do one here, I think, because 3's that old Trinity. Hello, I was late. That's all right, love. How are your builders and decorators? Catching you in your pyjamas again? But you can't wait to get in that room, can you? Oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to disguise this bit of tag that sits out a bit too bright for me. Ready? Ready? I can see it going. Right. Ooh. It's harder. It does slither a bit if you're not careful. You have to be really straight with it. Make sure those builders don't move in with you, Karen. Right. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Not a tad on there. It's all very hot though. So. Oh, crumbs. Can you hear that rain? We need this to cool down a little bit. Happens quickly. Yeah, every day. They still don't bring you a cuppa? Well, that's just rude. Especially if they're looking through your bedroom wall, ain't you? Oh, because there's not a bedroom wall there. They've been there a while now. It's got to be 2 weeks, isn't it? 10 days at least. They're doing a good job. Right, for this stage, I haven't got pan pastels. So many things on Dee's list that I didn't have. So what I did, I'm being really tentative. It's still very hot, but it's a lot better. I used, because I didn't have pan pastels, what we want to do is bring out this impression that we've put in with the stamp. So what I used was good old-fashioned antiquing cream, but you could use black paint, anything you've got really that will go in there. You could even probably use watercolour. We want something to get into there, and then we're going to wipe it back. So I'm going to get a damp cloth, because for me a baby wipe's too wet. So I've got a damp cloth there. I've got my antiquing cream. I'm going to splodge a bit on my mat. And actually I'm going to put it more than just in here, but I'm going to, I'm pushing it in with my finger. Actually a brush might be better. Let's see. Let's get a rotten old brush. What I'm going to do, because we want to pick up all that detailing in the stamp. So I'm going up and down, left and right, diagonally, squishing it all in there. So I've picked a brush that's not a particularly nice brush. Oh look, that's squished off the side. Love it. So that's my stamping done, but my colours are really bright, so I'm just going to squish some over, and I'm not going to wipe it back particularly carefully. I'm going to leave some of that darker colour. It's just toning it all down. I'm going to leave it for a sec. Oh, I'm liking this corner much better now. In the water with it. And wipe that bit up. Probably got it all over my fingers now. Oh, that sounds good, Suze. Pick me up on the way. Now I'm going to wipe back with a damp cloth, which is actually drying out because both the tags are warm. I'm just warming this rim now. Get rid of that. And when I'm going over the stamped image where I've put the antiquing, I'm going really fast, but I'm also trying to keep my finger as flat as possible because I don't want to take it out of the grooves. I actually want it to be, not messy is the wrong word, is it? Grunged. I want it grunged. So if the lines are going this way, I'm going across. God, that actually still felt wet then. That's interesting, isn't it? It's gone really... That's dried on there, look. But I can't... Oh, don't want it too pretty. I want the butterflies to show through. He's very dark. But I don't want to wipe it back completely. I'm actually enjoying that colour, if you like. Enjoying the grunge. Actually, I'm calling it quits there because I like how it's taken down that orangey feel from the Queen Gold. So if I'm honest, I wasn't happy that it was so bright. This one's so much, that's Queen Gold as well. And look at the difference in colour. It's much brighter on this one. I think the Raw Sienna brought it out. Anyway, how are we doing? All there? Oh, I might. Thanks, Suze. It's always nerve-wracking when the writer and the creator of a technique's there. I can't believe how bright my tag looks on that screen. It's interesting. So I wrote antique green. And then all we've got left to do is do the matte medium to the entire tag. And you'll see the tag take on a misty look of wax. To finish, use a bit of gilding wax, which I've actually put away. So I'm going to quickly grab that while my tag's still cooling down, unbelievably. So, matte medium. Nice big brush because, oh, sorry, I've just opened my waxes and the smell. I absolutely adore the smell of these waxes. I want a big brush because I don't want to go over it too many times, so I'm going to pick the brush I already taken out. And I don't want too many passes of the brush because I don't want to accidentally pick up any of this antiquing cream, and I'm not quite sure how robust it is. Or how dry it is for that matter, because we're at the end now. I'm aware that I don't want to be keeping you all the night. And my dinner's sitting down. Oh, thank you, Sarah. We're almost there, aren't we? And you should watch it go a little bit creamy now. So I'm going to go really quickly. Don't worry if it pulls a little bit in the indents from the stamp, because it will still dry off. And I tend to go in one direction as well. I've just realised I may not have melted all of that. We'll see. We'll see. Let's pull this down there. Oh, and I think it's as it dries, it leaves this sort of creamy, misty. See, this is drying already, so I don't want to go over it too much. I don't want to bodge all that lovely colour. Right, I'm going to screw that back on. I'm going to... You can't use the heat gun to dry this off too quickly now because of course we've got embossing powder underneath, which if it gets too warm will start melting again. And goodness knows what we'll end up with. So I may concentrate on this little corner. I'm going to leave it for a sec while I choose my wax to use, because what I want, I think, yeah, about 10 minutes. Thank you. That's my lovely husband saying, about 10 minutes. Wow, that's my dinner. He's putting the chips in the oven. Oh yeah, Karen, I've got one I've missed. Bizarrely, it's Celia's one I haven't done. So I'm just picking a colour and I can't find the one I want. I've picked out Firebird, which I do love, but that's not what I used on the other one I really liked. But what the dickens have I done with that? I know it's not a book here. Oh, how very bizarre is that? What have I done with it? Oh, got it. Phew. This is the actual one I want. Oh, it's not got a colour. This is aged brass, and if you see the difference, that is the Firebird, which is luscious. It's absolutely gorgeous. But this aged brass is just the right tone to go with the Queen Gold. But this, oh, have a sniff. I don't know if you like me. It's anything like that. I love the smell. Hello, Carol. Cool, you're going to have to go back and watch, lovelies. They'll all be in the units. This is unit 5, I believe, and it's Dee's tag, it's not mine. So yeah, you go back and have a look, watch through. If I knew how to edit, I'd cut out half the chatter, but hey. Don't forget you can't heat this too much, or you'll lose all that lovely embossing. I need to do a bit so that I can show you. Oh, my stamps are good. This one's best. Driest, I should say. Oh, thanks, Dee. I've just seen your comment. Bless you. I actually really enjoy the lives. Although it sounds like I'm talking to myself half the time. Maybe that's just because during lockdown and before, really, I'm a little bit of a chatterbox. You've probably noticed. Oh, and I don't do my sniggering because it cracks dye up. Right. I gild like this. I put a bit on my finger and then I rub a bit off on my mat here. It's all lovely warm. And I go across the grain. And I'm really not very careful about this because actually I'm quite light-handed, bizarrely, with my waxes. And although you want to start light, I'm going to try and hold this up for you. Although you want to start light, you want to catch those peaks. And with a finger, it won't go into the dents. I don't know if you can see that. I've got to, oh, can you see it? I'm trying to, yes, there's not much on it. It's really hard to see with this camera in this light. See, I can see here all of these, the striations it's picking up actually from the matte medium as well. Oh, it's beautiful, and it's picking up every tiny, oh, that might be a bit much. You're right, Fig. See, I've done a bit. Oh, quick. I'm quick about it. This might be when your solvent comes in handy as well. Yeah, I was a bit heavy-handed there, right? So, do what I told you to do. So, dab it on your finger. Wipe most of it off. The matte medium is still a bit wet there, so I'm not going to go that side. What I also did wasn't just go over this bit. Like I say, I go over the whole thing because there's dents in the matte medium from the brush. And then around the edges, because, what did I call it? Aged brass. Anything goldy will pick up the reds in. All of the colours have got reds in. The browns have got red in. The Queen Gold's got red in. Even the black's got a certain amount of red in. Black holds all colours. But, so if you put this orangey goldy waxes around the edge, it'll bring everything together. And actually I can go a little bit heavier handed. Like I say, I'm quite light handed, or used to be with these. And you need to put a little bit more on than you think. Oh, on, off, and then on here, on, off. If you go from here to here, you're going to be heavy handed like I was down in this corner. And you know what, that's dry now. So I'm going to put it over the whole thing. I will try and take a better picture of it. It's not easy at night when you've got all this fake light, but I will try. Zoom you in. Can you see the shimmer you're coming off of here? I can see. I hope you can see it. See, Suze. Oh, thanks, sweetie. Ta-ra. Oh gosh, I'm loving that. But look at the difference between the two. One made yesterday and one made today. And I think I can see the improvement in the one I've done today. I was a bit more not heavy-handed. I just used more stuff. It's a more confident tag for me, this one. Not to say I don't love this one as well. I quite like that it's got quite a pale background. So there we are, my lovelies. 2 tags. I'm going to put them beside now to dry properly. It'll probably take a while because there's quite a lot of embossing powder and all sorts on there. So I'm going to let them settle overnight. This one's much better, thicker. So go for it. If you're watching and you haven't actually made this yet, go a bit heavier than you would normally. All of the paint will dry a little bit lighter. Really go for it. We're going to look at the mess of me. Well, thank you all for joining me. It's been absolutely brilliant having you there and getting a bit of feedback as you go. Nice little chats. Post your pictures up for us on the Tando Creative Zone. Well, anyone that hasn't done it, look in the Unit 5. That's Dee's one. And that's it. Thanks for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I did all right, Dee. Looks a bit blurry here. It's not. It looks lovely. I'll take a photo of them both later and put them up. Probably tomorrow now because I am starving. And I can see where this hasn't melted and where I've put the wax, it's picked it up. It's actually a really nice effect. Anyway. Oh, thanks, Karen. Thanks, Marie. Thanks, everybody. I can't wait to see yours, though. Please put your photos up. Dee will love to see them as well, I'm sure. And I'm going to go and get a drink, probably cider. Oh, thank you. Your instructions were so easy to follow, Dee. I'm glad I went through it yesterday, but it's so much easy, so easy to follow. And this triple embossing technique, I just love it. I absolutely love it. So really nice to see you in the group as well. All right, everybody, that's it. I've now got to learn to turn this off. Thank you. Go and enjoy your tea or a drink, cup of tea even, and speak to you soon. Don't forget to post your pictures up. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Bernadette. Thanks, everyone. Good night.